Okay, so I just redid my center serving with a rated 62, 21 thousandths. Knot fit on it's good. Surprised Hoyt's factory serving, even though they didn't run a tag end all the way underneath the full length of the serving, didn't have much separation underneath of my knot set and loop. So kudos for them. Now I'm going to replace their string dampeners for cat whiskers. One reason I do these, they don't wear out, they don't break apart, they're not going to fly out of the string. Unlike these, they can break or fly out of the strings, and since they're split through the middle of the string, they can also mess with your peep rotation, so that's why I get rid of those. Going with orange for leukemia awareness for myself. This is probably about a 4-inch strip. I just use one single and I cut it in half once, and then cut each of those sides in half again. So I'm using a total of 2 put together on top and bottom. The trick is to cut them carefully to where they're not breaking and falling apart, so that you can work with them as you're tying them on. So on my last video, I picked up 3 subscribers, so that was cool. I appreciate that. That gives me motivation to do more stuff. And if we grow this big enough, can get some more cameras or a camera person and be a little more in depth rather than y'all being so far away and not getting to see what I'm doing. But appreciate you tuning in, checking it out. So BCY 3D for tying. Gonna use beeswax. Help this stuff be a little bit more tacky, easier for the knots to hold. Just doing overhand, underhand knots. Tie one around the top, and one around the bottom. Okay, got them tied on. Now for the fun part, just pulling the ends, getting them to fray out. It's all those little tentacly arms that soak up the string noise and vibration. Like I mentioned, orange for leukemia. The bow's green. I'm not the biggest fan of green and orange together, but that was the only 60-pound bow that we had at our shop at Mountain Archery there, so who cares? Will be changing out my peep serving. You guys can't see it, from green to orange. Probably throw an orange D-loop on there. mentioned, I took off the Hoyt limb dampeners and stuck the Limb Saver twist locks on there. There's your Koosh Ball cat whisker string silencers. They just work good. Been using them for many, many, many years. The first archery shop I worked at when I was 16 years old taught me how to do those. And somewhere along the line, they became a lost art. I get a lot of questions and comments about them like they're something mythical and magic, but what works, works, and it's worked for a long time. All right. Cat whiskers done. New serving done. Now we're gonna do up my knock point here. Typically I'll set my knock point with a bow square so that I ensure my arrow's going through the center of the burger hole. But since I previously had my rest height set for this arrow diameter and everything, I'm just gonna go straight to the levels and do my tie and knock set off of that. It's a good spot there. Again, 3D BCY, throw some wax on it. I like to go 5 knots above my knock and 7 knots below. Still looking good. Overhand, underhand knots. Lay them right next to each other. I'm not gonna show you because there's a million videos out there on it that have good cameras and close-ups. So 3. There is some trial and error as far as gapping your bottom knock set below your arrow knock. Depending on the bows, axle to axle, the cam system, you may get knock pinch if you get it too close, or you'll get slop if you get the gap too big. So that's why it's nice to have a buddy look at you at full draw, or if you have press at home with a draw board on there, shoot the bow a little bit to get everything to settle in, because that can change. Then have somebody check it or put it on a draw board, drop back, and make sure you can move your arrow knock up and down just a little bit. I was talking and got distracted and forgot to do my new finishing knot. Hopefully the wax will hold it for me. In the midst of changing stuff on the Ventum there, I'm also going to change out the sight. I'm going to try to run a Spot Hog Fast Eddy on here. Always try Spot Hogs. I always take them off, but I'm always willing to try them again. So Here's one of the original Bright Sight leveling jigs. They have newer versions out there of these. It's pretty cool that they're still on the market. I've had this one since the late 90s. Works great for getting your initial second and third axis set on your sight. First axis if capable, which if you don't know, Spot Hogg does not have a first axis adjustment on there. First axis would be leveling this bar to the bow or to the body of the sight. Second axis is actually pivoting your scope this way is your second axis. So it does have second axis capable on there. So you just got to hope and pray that their first axis is machined good enough to where you're not going to track left or right as you change distance. It does have third axis, which you're going to initially tilt the sight up or down, pivot the sight on this plane so that it's square to your eye on up and downhill shots. I've always had great luck with doing my third axis on this. Haven't had much of a necessity to adjust it at full draw, but that is something you can do to edge out a little bit more accuracy. So I'm just going to get this initially set, leveled out, get it put on the bow, getting close to start shooting it some more, getting it every little bit closer to being dialed in. Kudos to Spot Hogg. I did check the first axis with a little level on the vertical travel. That was good. So that's, since I don't shoot Spot Hogg much, that was good for me to find out that that's the case. Second axis out of the box was good, or close. I had to adjust it just a teeny bit there. Third axis was actually spot on out of the box. Let me check the downhill. Pretty dang close. So despite not having a first axis or some of the features other sites do, I'm impressed with that. So get it put on there. Go do some shooting. Getting close. Back to the press. So initial tune still knock right, indicating a weak spine through paper. Check timing, haven't checked that this whole time. Bottom cam was slightly ahead, so I put one twist in that bottom cable. Timing's good now. I don't have extra shims here at the house, but this outboard side has a little bit smaller shim than the left side, which if I'm getting knocked right, I want to push those cams towards that knock tear. So I am going to flip the bottom shims, see if that helps, because a 350 spine and a 300 spine are both tearing at equal amount to the right. So I could be wrong here as far as what spine this bow really likes. It could be a shim, a cam alignment thing. So I'm gonna flip that out real quick and let you know what it does for me. Absolute pain without their little robot tool to hold the shims, but worth it. Just changing that one shim on the bottom. From what my eyeballs can tell, the shim width on the top cam are both the same thickness. Bottom had slightly thicker on this side, or other side. Anyway, pushed it to the right just on the bottom cam. Bullet hole with a 300 bare shaft. I shot a 350 fletch shaft. It also bulleted. Both of them are skosh knock high, so I'll probably bump my rest up just a hair. Try both of them again, and then that's going to put me into a dilemma of 300 or 340 and see which one groups and flies better. So yeah, Making progress. I'm happy. Quick recap on today's project. I feel like I did a great job making some advancements in getting this bow closer to how I like to have a bow set up. Changed out center serving, new loop on there, still to be determined on my knot fit. I want to shoot it a little bit. Worst case scenario, I have to respace those knock sets in there. So that's how it looks. Changed out the peep, went to a 3/16 since I have that dovetail sight on there. Now I don't have to run that 1/4 inch like I did with the Excel. I can adjust this sight in and out. I can also change out this ring on here to the smaller ring if need be. Scooted that rest back. Still need to stick that monkey tail on there. I'll determine that once I get outside and can hear the bow a little bit better. Put the twist lock dampeners on there. Leveled out that fast eddy 2nd and 3rd axis, so I'm at a good starting point. Added the Koosh Ball string silencers on there. Switch shims. That was important. Total pain in the butt, but it was necessary, and I'm glad that I took the time to do that instead of continuing to chase arrow spines and point weights and stuff. I'm at a really good position now where it's going to be a more forgiving bow for me, a little easier to select the arrow that's going to shoot out of it. So I'm happy. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you guys for the support. If you made it this far, you didn't bail out on me, leave a comment. Really, ask me a question. If you learned one thing from this, then I succeeded, but I'm here for you guys. We'll catch you later.